sport and you're looking for maybe the next big fighter or the next big name, it's took a bit of a hit because of it.
Okay, now we're going to jump over to this week. We have Jack Catterall taking on Arnold Barboza Jr. It's a, believe, WBO interim title fight, but it could have the qualifications of actually being a title fight because the WBO ordered Teofimo Lopez to defend the belt or sign off on a fight with given a time frame. So could be a bigger fight. What is your impression on this fight, this British fight?
Well, this is a great fight. This is a great fight. From a British perspective, Jack Catterall needs this fight. This is the fight that propels him back into that position. You know, for British fans, Jack Catterall is an uncrowned champion. He should have had that first decision over Josh Taylor a couple of years ago, and he didn't. And as a result, I feel like he's suffered. I feel like he's been put to the back of the pecking order, whilst other fighters in the super lightweight division have been given the opportunity. I feel like he's had to really scratch and claw his way back into contention. Now he's got this fight against a really hot prospect fighter who, again, he's another person in America that's being considered an uncrowned champion in Arnold Barboza, who's had some really good fights himself recently and really good victories. So it's a really, really good fight, this one, because you've got two guys that are absolutely salivating to become world champions and have shown in their recent fights that they've got the caliber and the capability of doing so. So this, on paper, for me, is a 50-50 fight. In terms of who I think will actually win this fight, Lukie, it's a tough one, to be honest, because I think Arnold Barboza can cause Catterall problems if Catterall doesn't start fast. He's quite a slow starter in most of his fights, Jack Catterall, and I think if he allows Arnold Barboza to set the tone and set the pace of the fight early on, I think Arnold could actually then rack up a few rounds before you'll find that Jack's having to pull the fight back and possibly doing it too late where Arnold can actually get the win on points. But if Jack starts fast and maybe tries to take centre ring. He's not naturally known for doing that. He's quite a counter puncher fighter. But if he actually tries to take centre ring and get some of those early rounds in, I'd anticipate that his timing, Jack's counter punching and his timing could actually beat Arnold Barboza's. But I think Arnold is also a really great fighter, and I think it's a fight not to miss. For me, in the super lightweight division at the moment, with the moving around of certain fighters moving up to welterweight and the bigger names starting to leave the division, you know, this is a fight that's needed. This is a fight that's needed to start reigniting this division once again. So, you know, if you're tuning into the fight this coming weekend, please let us know your thoughts on it, because I think this is a really great fight, Luke. I think I can't really pick a winner. I'm going to sit on the fence a little bit here, and obviously because we're recording it just before the fight, I might change my mind on fight night. You know, it's one of those type of fights where I could change my mind back and forward as the days go by. I'd want Jack to win, if I'm being totally honest with you. I'm a British fight fan. I want to see Jack do well. I know Jack personally. I'd love to see him get this win, and I'd love to see him put his name in lights. But I just know what's going to be facing him in the opposite corner in Arnold Barboza, who's a hell of a fighter himself. And I think one of these guys are going to come out and then really, really set their name alight after this fight. At the moment, I just don't know which one it's going to be.
Well, that is a breakdown. I think that this is the Spider-Man meme where Spider-Man's looking at himself, because Catterall kind of had his Josh Taylor, you know, that he was chasing that fight. It was like he felt like he lost out on Undisputed, and then he was able to beat Taylor, and it's like his career was able to go. Well, with Barboza, he always felt like at Top Rank he was in the shadow of Jose Ramirez. Ramirez comes to Golden Boy. He fights him. He beats him. It feels like they've both avenged kind of these people that in their mind they perceived them as like gatekeeping them from titles, whether it's right or wrong. I think that is part of the story. And now it's interesting, they meet each other, and it's like a UK and an American equivalent of each other fighting for a truly consequential fight.
It's a big one. It's a big one for the pair of them. And I think the fact that, you know, we look at where both of their careers are, it's got to put them ready for a world title. They've got to. I said at the start, didn't I, of the monologue that I just did, they're both, in my eyes, they're uncrowned world champions. I just feel like they've not been afforded the opportunities, or they've been screwed out of their opportunities to be world champions in one way, shape or form. I feel like now both of them are at a stage where it creates such a hype around it, and it doesn't feel like it's being hyped up. As a fight, for me, as a fan, This is a great fight, absolutely fantastic fight. I just don't feel it's getting the same level of traction as what it should do. I think it's going to be a really interesting one, Lukie. And I think I look at the card as well, and you think about some of the fights that are on the undercard as well. I didn't know if you wanted to go into any of that because there's some really interesting fights on the undercard there as well.
It's funny you mentioned that. So if you are listening on YouTube or the podcast, this is where your journey stops. But if you go over to my Substack, you get to find out about the undercard, which starts right now with me